Hi there, this is Joe from Signagelive, and today we're going to use Canva to create a layout background for our layout in Signagelive. We're going to do this in such a way that it will create a window for our content to appear behind, thus giving the impression of more depth in our content. I'll put an example of what this is going to look like on screen now, but essentially what you're seeing here is a background that we've created, or an image. This is a PNG. And within that, we have a transparent area. And what we're doing is we're tactically aligning the placement of certain elements so that they sit on top of where that transparent area is and gives that impression of more depth. So let's create a new project in Canva. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit File, Create New Design. I'm going to do a custom size, and I'm going to do 1080 by 1920 because what I'm going to do is put this on this portrait screen here behind me. So in Canva, you can't actually delete a section of the background because really what we need to do is take our background, chop out a section where the content will sit, and that's basically the premise of what we're doing here today. But instead, what we're going to do is grab an element here, drag that into my project, and I want this to be a rectangle shape. I'm not going to be too particular about my placement of my content here, but in my case, I'm going to put a video here. So I would want this to be a 16 by 9 zone. At the moment, I'm roughly just putting the measurements in here. I don't know if that's 16 by 9, but I'm just going to leave that as it is for now. So now what we need to do is fill the background here everywhere around that red square that we've got there. So again, we're going to add another shape. In my case, I'm going to make this our Signagelive blue. I'm going to make this consume the entire layout like so. I'm going to duplicate that again by clicking and dragging and holding down Alt. That will allow me to put one there. I'm going to put one that side, and I'm going to put one that side. And now what this means is that when I delete this square here, which I will do when we finish this document, that will mean we've got that white zone there, which is where our content is going to sit in this case. So I'm going to bring that red square back for a moment. And what we're going to do is we're just going to grab some elements and drag them into this. I've actually got another document here where I've built some stuff already. So I'm actually just going to steal some of the elements from here. So I've got like a transparent waveform here. I've got some text. I've got some more text and some boxes. I'm going to copy these, jump back over to my other document and paste them in like so. Okay, so we've got the elements pasted in this document now. I do just need to rearrange them, but what I'm going to do before I do that is go to Position and select all of the shapes that are making up my background, and I'm going to lock them. So I'm going to right click on them and I'm going to go down to lock. This will just mean that when I'm moving around my elements, I don't accidentally drag my background off of the canvas. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit now and I'm just going to drag this. Again, I just want to make sure that these overlap the area where our content is going to go, just to further highlight that we are making use of transparency here. If I do something like that, I'll drag that like that, put that in the corner. This one can go in this corner, so we've got a bit of overlap there. My fun fact can actually just go down here and that's not going to overlap the section. Let's make this as big as we can get it, like so. And again, I'm just doing this really quickly. I could be more precise about this, but this is more about showing you how we can achieve this. Finally, we have our text boxes here, which I'm just going to make sure they overlap that red box at the top there. Right, that'll do. So now we have essentially our video layer is going to go where this red box is, and then all of this content, as you can see, is overlapping this. So the first thing we need to do is delete this, but first I'm going to use this to map my coordinates over to the zones in my layout. Okay, so we're back in Signagelive now, and we're going to head over to Content, Layouts, and we're going to create a new layout. And once again, we want this to match the resolution of the canvas that we created in Canva, which is going to be 1080 by 1920. Because we have this in portrait. Okay, so here's our layout canvas, and what we need to do now, in order to put a playlist within this zone, we're going to need to put a schedulable zone in place. That schedulable zone will allow us to map a particular playlist to that zone. But what I need to do is make sure that it fits the precise dimensions that we have mapped on that red zone within Canva. So jumping back to Canva now, if I select that zone, head over to Position, and then go to Arrange here, you'll see that we have these dimensions here. We have 864 by 527.5. So that is the width and the height of that schedulable zone, and that's what it needs to be in Signagelive. And then we have the X and Y coordinates, which is of course the location on the canvas where this square is actually located. So we're now just going to copy this over to the layer properties within our layout editor. So width and height is 864 by 527. We can't use decimal points here, so we're just going to round this up. So in my case, I'm going to put this as 528. So we've got 864 by 528. So here in Signagelive, we're going to go like that. Hit zone properties, width. Our width is going to be 864. Our height is going to be 258. And now we need the X and Y coordinates, which is going to be 108 by 108. So once again, 108 by 108. Just double check if you put your width and your height in first and then your X and Y coordinates cause your zone to fly off of the layout, it does end up resizing it. So in my case, I've just had to make sure that I've definitely got 528 in the height there. But you can see if I now look at that schedulable zone there and then jump back to Canva, you can see that those zones are in the exact same location. The next step is to add a second schedulable zone within Signagelive, and this is where the layout background is actually going to sit. So what we're going to do is drag this to consume the entire canvas this time, like so. I'm going to drag that over that like so. And this does need to be in front of the other layer. So you can confirm that by going to the layer navigator. You can see I've now got 2 layers. I know that this top layer here is going to be our transparent PNG. And I know that this one is the video zone. And now you'll see if I go to here, I can just double check this, make sure that is 0 by 0 on the X and Y coordinates, and the width will be 1080 by 1920 because it is consuming the entire canvas. So now I can go ahead and save this. I'm going to call this test layout 2, and you can see we've got one zone, which is the transparent PNG, which is going to consume the whole canvas, and we've got the video zone, which is sat behind that. So now we're going to export our image from Canva, map that to the particular schedulable zones, and map our video content to the other zone. Jumping back to Canva now, what we do need to do is make sure that we get rid of this red box here. I'm just going to press delete, and you can see that that white box is now where that content is going to sit. I'm going to hit share, download. I want to make sure that this is definitely downloaded as a PNG, and we want to make sure that we tick transparent background as well, because that will just make sure that that white area remains transparent so that other content that is behind it can peer through. Hit download, and that's going to save that to my PC now. Now, the way that we map content to schedulable zones is we actually do this during the publication phase. So what we're going to do is go straight into publishing our content, and that will allow us to map the content where we need it to be. Before I do that, I'm going to create a unique playlist, because what we're going to do in those schedulable zones is have one playlist in each zone. The first one's going to be the layout background. So I'm going to head to the content library by hitting content, playlists, create and edit. Hit the blue plus in the top left here, go to media asset upload, and now I'm going to select my transparent image that we just created in Canva. Confirm I have the permission to upload this, let this upload. Whilst that uploads, I'm just going to quickly jump to YouTube and grab the video that I want to put in the other zone. Okay, so I'm back in Signagelive now. I've got my YouTube URL. So what I'm going to do first is make a brand new playlist with a YouTube asset in it. I already have a YouTube app here on my Signagelive network, but if you needed to grab one, you can go ahead to the marketplace here on the left. You can just grab the free YouTube app. In my case, I'm going to drag and drop the one I already have into a playlist, double click on it, and I'm going to paste my video content in. So here you can see I've got my marketplace video, and that's going to sit in that top zone. Okay, so that's our first playlist. I'm not going to publish this just yet because we're going to make our next playlist now. So I'm going to hit new playlist, recently added, clear the YouTube filter, and you'll see Untitled Design 10 there. That is the background that we just made over in Canva. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to call this Joe Transparent BG. Hit save. And now we can go ahead and publish. I'm going to do it by heading to content and then publish. So between the chosen time and dates is fine in this case. What do I want to publish? And I want to pick our layout this time. So I'm going to go to recently added, grab our test layout 2. You can see we've got our 2 zones now. So we've got transparent PNG and we've got the video zone there. So the transparent PNG, of course, is going to house the playlist that we just made, which is this one here. If I go to recently added, Joe Transparent BG, that's going to be that one. And behind that, we are going to add the video zone, which is going to be this playlist here. It's worth noting that in this preview on the left here, you won't be able to see it in real time, so you will have to wait until you've got it on your players to actually see this in action. But now you can see that we've mapped each of the zones here. We have the confidence that one playlist is in front of the other. Then when we publish that to the screens, the YouTube content will peer through that open gap that we've created the transparent square on. Which player do we want to publish to? In this case, I want to do this one behind me. I'm going to hit publish to players, and in a moment, this should appear on our screen behind us. And now, as you can see here, our content has now appeared on our player. You can see that our video zone is sat behind the background elements, or technically not the background because it is the layer in front, but this is essentially the image that we have crafted in Canva, and we have certain elements that are overlapping our video, and this is another way that we can create more depth in our content. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you have any more questions, please do feel free to get in touch, and we'd be more than happy to answer them. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.